Shanti, thank you for doing this with me. I'm excited to talk emails with you.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
to just kick us off, can you just share a little bit about you and the work that you do?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I write a lot of emails for my own business and for clients. So I'm a copywriter turned growth coach, quiz strategist, and I am all about helping businesses make more money with email, both growing their list and monetizing it and connecting with the humans on there. So we're kindred spirits.
And you're good at it because it was your email. Like I've been on your email list for a while now, and it was your emails effectively that converted me into coming into your membership, Fertile Ground. I was like, it was so good, and like the lead up to it, I was like, yeah, it really made me think like, yeah, I got to be in there. Um,
Oh, thank you.
that thing. I am going to go ahead and share the email that you've kind of picked out for us to chat about. And yeah, the first question I have here then is what is Cut 30 and how did you come to receive this email? I assume you're on their list.
Yeah. So, are you familiar with Whole 30 or maybe like some of the
No,
listeners
I
are?
hadn't heard of them at all.
Okay,
No.
it's basically this like challenge where you just eat whole foods only for 30 days. So, I feel like Cut 30 is a little play on Whole 30, and instead of eating whole foods, it's like you make videos for your business for 30 days and you learn the ropes, you figure out editing, storytelling, all of it. And it's sort of like this little incubator. So I got on this list because a friend of mine did this program and spoke highly of it. And so I joined the wait list. And now I've been through a few cycles of their launches. And I haven't quite pulled the trigger yet, but I'm really close. Like they really got me. And I chose this one because like it's nothing super fancy. Like these emails probably don't take that long to write. But there's a lot of social proof in them and like FOMO because they run it live not every month. I think they are doing like quarterly or something.
Okay, so it's not
But
a recorded one. It's one you've got to be on when they start it. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. And did they do quite a few emails kind of in the run up to like this is part of like the series?
They
Yeah.
do quite a lot of emails in the lead up to the live 30-day sessions, which like, I think is also worth talking about because so many brands are really scared of sending too many emails, of being annoying, or it feels like every email you send has to be like a masterpiece. And, I selected this one. It's a bit longer, but a lot of the emails that they're sending in the lead up are like really short. They're more like serving as just like keep it top of mind, like the reminders that this is there and it's coming up. And then every few emails, they send a bit of a longer one with more social proof and detail. But yeah, it's probably when I looked yesterday over the last launch cycle, and actually their next session starts today, I think. So it was good timing. There was probably like at least 25 emails
Wow. Yeah. It's a good
promoting
amount.
it.
It sounds like you said, they've got that nice balance of short and long copy in there, which I quite like because then some of them, yeah, you just like, no, I know what this is going to be. I'm not going to read it. But then others, you kind of like, okay, well, I'll take the time because the others haven't taken up too much of my time. Um, yeah. And I think what's worth saying, and you can't see it in the screen share, but it's kind of, I was looking and you were sent this email, I think it was on the 14th of February. And it was like, point of view, you've joined Cut 30 and it's Tuesday the 18th. So they're kind of setting it up for the kind of the opening line of,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess it's setting you up so that from that point of view of I've already joined, here's what's going to happen.
Totally. Yeah, it's really good future pacing and removal of the mystery that I think is another thing a lot of brands struggle with in their marketing. Is like there's a lot of like vague, I guess we're painting pictures of what's possible for people, right? But often that's really vague. Like the more detailed you can get, like a week by week breakdown or on like what you're going to achieve or how you're going to feel after you sign up for something is like, that always gets me.
Yeah, I agree, because when I read it initially, I was like, oh, it's very kind of informative. And like, oh, there's not a lot of that, like you said, that really descriptive, oh, this is gonna, imagine this or do that, But actually, when you reread it, it's quite clever because it does have all of that information and like all the things that you might ask for the questions. So like you said, it's breaking it down for the kind of the week 1, the week 2, the week 3, the week 4. So yeah, by the end of it, I kind of like, if I was going to take this, I knew what we would be doing each week, which I
Yeah.
thought was quite clever, and took that, like you said, that vagueness away.
Yeah. Right. And I think
Mm.
that when you do that, you also like tone down the hype. Like the promises become more believable because you can see a clear trajectory toward them. And there's no illusion of like, oh, I'm not going to have to put in the work to get this result, right? So as a consumer, I always appreciate that because it's like this balancing act of like, okay, should I invest in this? Do I actually have the capacity to do it right now? And that's a question that people are always asking and holding in their minds.
Yeah. And to your point there, there's this, there's not scary, but at the end, there's the bit where it says, we'll end with a bang, a 7-day sprint of post a new video every day. And like, if you're new to this, I imagine that would be quite scary. Like, that's a lot of work, or it feels like a lot of
Totally.
work. But actually, because they've broken down the first few weeks and you're going to have that 3 weeks of learning to begin with, by the time I got to that, I was like, okay, well, you would be in a good place then to do that. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah, that you said about having that expectation of, will I be able to do the work? Well, it's okay because I'm going to have weeks 1, 2, and 3 first, and that will help.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And the idea of having like 7 polished videos at the end is a strong promise.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one to finish with. The other thing they were really clear about, and sometimes I see people being a bit vague with it on courses, and sometimes I think it's maybe because we don't, when you create course things or masterminds or whatever it is, sometimes the guests and things aren't always finalized when you're marketing it. But one of the things I did like here is they're very specific. They name the guests and things and, what each session is going to be. So again, that took away some of the vague thing that you sometimes get with kind of courses, or we're going to have guests. I see quite a lot, like guest speakers,
Yeah,
but actually to have those kind of names in there was quite good.
totally. I think the only thing there that I would maybe do differently is, I mean, I don't know who any of those people are. I'm sure that they have a lot of expertise in this domain, but I think they could have added a line that maybe says like these 3 professional creators have a combined following of 3 million or something, just to like tell me a little bit more.
So again, like you were saying earlier, give it that social proof behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like if I
absolutely.
had to critique it, I would also say formatting wise, the paragraphs are like a little chunky. Like I would split things up and add more like bullet points and bolding and italics, like where it makes sense. They have a bit of that at the end, but
I was going to say, it's all very much formatted at the end, though, isn't it? It's kind of that, like you say, that middle
Yeah.
section there is perhaps a bit
Yeah.
chunky.
We see
Yeah.
those chunks of text and it just like signals the brain to scan instead of actually read.
Especially on mobile as well, because I'll have to say, I've only looked at this on desktop, and I wonder if even the
Yeah,
line spacing and the font size on this, mobile
exactly.
wise, might be quite small for the amount of text. Like you said, if they're doing the shorter emails, it probably wouldn't have so much of an impact. But here
Yeah,
it definitely
exactly.
is kind of a bit quicker to read because it's kind of that formatting there. Um,
Yeah.
I
But
do like this.
countdown works.
I was going to ask, that was going to be one of my questions. Do you like the countdown clocks? And do you like it at the end? Because often people use it at the beginning, but I've started to see people moving them around a lot more recently.
Yeah, I feel like I usually try to save them for closer to the end. I like
Mm.
them. I like using them and I like seeing them as someone who's thinking about buying something because like I said, this cycle, the next cycle actually just started. So yesterday when I was looking at these emails, it said 3 hours, like 3 hours left to join. And I was like, damn, maybe I should do it this time around.
Yeah, so it worked.
Um, and I didn't, spoiler, but I am planning to. Like, I do think that this would be a cool, like, nice, quick win sort of experience. So,
Yeah. I The other thing I like down here with the formatting as well, not necessarily the formatting, sorry, the call to action was the join us on Tuesday, and obviously that's when it starts. But it also felt like that was kind of referring back to where they'd done the future pacing right at the beginning, like where they were making you think it was Tuesday, and then they mentioned Tuesday again at the
yeah,
end. So it was kind of like
totally.
they're kind of reiterating in my brain it starts on Tuesday. We've got to kind of along with the countdown was be I
Yeah, I like
imagine
that tying
do
in too.
click throughs.
Yeah, it just makes me think, like, hey, what am I doing on Tuesday? Could I actually, like, show
Yeah,
up to this? Yeah.
absolutely. Fabulous. Was there anything else about this email that you absolutely were kind of like, they're doing that really well and people should kind of emulate that? Any kind of points that if you had maybe, and they refer to it because it's not technically, they refer to it not as a course, but I quite liked this sentence down the bottom. It's a boot camp with playbooks, tracks, daily feedback. Um, yeah, if you were kind of running this kind of boot camp, is there anything else from that you would take away from this email that you would definitely kind of think I would do that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that it's a good example of an email that is clear over clever, right? It's nice when we can have both. Like in the perfect world, this would have maybe a little bit more personality, but at the end of the day, it's very clear. And I think a good example for a lot of business owners who struggle with the clever piece and then don't actually end up emailing nearly enough because they're like, they want that clever aspect so bad. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's okay. You can send the clear email and it can still be effective.
Yeah, I think I agree, and I think we can get bogged down in. There's quite a lot of narrative at the minute about storytelling. Like, so I sometimes my mentees or people that I'm working with are like, oh, I really want to be able to tell more stories and things, and there is absolutely a place for that. But sometimes if you're trying to force a story or, like you say, that imaginative bit into it, that's where people come a bit more stuck and kind of don't get the email done and out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
Fabulous. Um,
Guilty of that.
yeah,
Which is why
analysis
I'm like,
paralysis they call it,
yeah,
don't they? Yeah, just like I won't do this anymore. Um,
yeah.
yeah, and then if you had any last critiques, anything that you would change about it?
I him and haw on keeping the logo in the header. Like I guess it shows what it's about, and like I kind of immediately know what that is. So that's the pro of it. The con is like someone could see that and just like immediately their brain thinks marketing. And so they move along and don't give it a chance.
I've swung quite a lot on this as well in the last probably year or 18 months, because I used to always kind of teach, yeah, you have your logo at the top and then you have this and this, and like, and it's always like this. And now I'm like, it doesn't necessarily, yeah, you get the best practices drummed into you, don't you? And then actually it's like, when you think of it as a reader, and like you said, those kind of thoughts that go through your head when you open an email, actually you kind of, yeah, I think I would agree with you. Or whether they would have something else maybe down the bottom, because I think
Yeah.
in your emails, well, you have a lovely sign off, and don't you have your image down the bottom as well of your emails?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like that, having that at the bottom. I kind of like, again, and then that brings in that personality bit, because it's like, it wasn't
Yeah.
necessary, you don't necessarily have it in your face to begin with, but then it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of signed off from someone, or there's their picture, so they maybe could have put it down the bottom here with these elements.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was looking at their sales page yesterday, and like there's three guys that do this program. They all have like very successful kind of creator businesses and impressive followings. So seeing a bit more of that, like if we had like each of their names and faces and like a quick little blurb could be helpful. And then yeah, like keeping the logos maybe like lower down at the bottom in the sign off. But yes, like best practice is we want the email to look as natural and organic as possible, right? Like it's coming from a friend. And then we can like bypass that
Yeah, 100%.
marketing runaway.
Just slightly, like, I have an interesting question. You said you're on their website. Did the tone of this email, was it kind of consistent with the way they kind of write on the website as well?
Yeah, I feel like it was quite consistent. The sales page was definitely like very straightforward in terms of like what it is and what's included.
Yeah, I kind of like that, because I like it when there's that kind of, that nice transition. Like we were saying,
Yeah.
like if they were trying to force something into this, and then you were like, well, this email doesn't sound anything like the way when I'm on their website or when I'm on their social media. So yeah, like you said, that kind of straightforward approach to it fits really well with what they're doing elsewhere from the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fabulous. Any last thoughts before we wrap up?
I think I probably need to do it the next round. We'll see. I'll let you
They've
know.
convinced you. And
Yeah.
that's a really good, like, and yeah, that's a really good, um, testimonial to the fact that they keep sending you these emails and playing
Mhm.
that long game of not just saying, okay, well, she didn't sign up, so we'll
Yeah.
put her out, we'll keep,
Yes.
the
And I
next time
joined
out.
the wait list like multiple rounds ago. So
Wow.
I've been through like a few of their marketing rounds for it.
Yeah.
And I know it's a question I often have is like, should I be marketing to the wait list from the last round too?
Yeah.
And I think this kind of answers that.
Yeah, I think so. I think, yeah. And a lot of us need to kind of remember that as well, don't we? Like, it's that, yeah, keep going. Just because they didn't sign up this round doesn't mean they're not going to ever
Yeah.
sign up. And
Yeah,
just
exactly.
timing. Um, Fabulous. And could you share with us how we sign up for your emails and where we can find you?
Yeah, for sure. You can go to shantizak.com, and from there you will see many different ways to join my email list. You can go to /sign up and get on my newsletter. And yeah,
Amazing. Thank you, Shanti.
thank you. So fun.